Good evening. It's a beautiful night in so many respects, and we're fortunate. But in other ways, we're not. I don't know how many of you, I'm 55. When I was growing up, we used to talk about banana republics. Maybe I can get Jean-Claude to give me a hand with this. Or Richard, maybe you can give me a hand with this. Or you can, here, split up these bananas and just take all of them, pass them around. Everybody deserves a banana. Do any of you remember the idea of a banana republic? Yeah, and what it was a country where very few people owned virtually everything, right? And when we think of banana republics, we think of places that don't have a lot of Harley Davidsons. When we think of banana republics, we think of places like Nicaragua, we think of Venezuela, we think of Argentina, we think of a lot of places like that. Well, in the old days, those countries, most of the wealth was owned by a very small percentage of the population. But it's no longer fair to think of those countries as being banana republics. For example, Argentina. In Argentina, the top 1% of the population owns about 15% of the wealth. Now in Canada, it's harder to break out the statistics, but I can tell you that 20% of Canadians own 70% of the wealth. Probably about 10% of Canadians own someplace in the vicinity of about 54% of the wealth. And the best estimates that some economists have come up with is that the top 1% of Canadians own someplace around 20% of the wealth. Argentina, the top 1%, Argentina, the banana republic, the top 1% owns 15%. In Canada, the new emerging banana republic, the top 1% owns 20% of the wealth. More than these old banana republics. In Canada, over the last 30 years, we've seen a sin emerge. And what it is that there's far less concern for those who are living in poverty than those who are living in wealth. Since 2005, the top 1% of Canadians, the wealthiest Canadians, are now paying less percentage income tax than the bottom 20%. That's a sign that something's wrong in our society. A few years ago, in 2009, Victor Boudreau was offering a massive tax cut to the highest earning income people in this province. The total tax cut was going to be worth, I forget how many $100 million, but it was really going to go to about 500 people. He said, and this is, well, I should never accuse anybody of lying, and I would never accuse any politician of ever lying. I would say sometimes their facts are questionable. Anybody who's ever done economic development will tell you that by cutting your income tax, you're not going to attract Bill Gates to move to New Brunswick. If he saw the natural beauty of New Brunswick, if he knew the wonderful people who lived here, he might come. But by giving him a bit more of an income tax break, I don't think he's going to abandon his house in Seattle. Budgets are moral documents. We can judge the morality of a government by looking at what its priorities are. And how do we judge its priorities? By the amount of money that it's prepared to invest in one area where cuts are coming in other areas. where something is getting more money, that would be seen as being morally good. Where groups are getting less money, they're seen by the government as being morally bad. In recent years, over the last 30 years, but especially over the last 12 years, we've seen an attack on the poor. We've seen them suffer an unimaginable number of cuts. The wealthy are growing wealthier, the poor are growing poorer. Anybody who has a religious background, whether they be Christian or Jew or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist, would agree that the most important thing that we can do is offer compassion to those who have the least, those who are the last in society. We would also try to protect puppies from nasty 80-pound dogs.
Sorry.
Friends, in the current budget, there's no new money for people on social assistance. In fact, as the Common Fund has dug into the budget, there's less money. What are we doing as a country? What are we doing as a society? We need to start talking about morality with our government. We need to start caring for the least and the last in our society, because that's what a country should be valued on, not how we treat the wealthiest or the best to do. So tonight, what I'd invite you to do is next time you see your MLA, the next time you see Robert Gauguin, you offer them a banana. And you ask them if you want Canada to turn into another banana republic, because that's not the road that we're on to, that's what we've become.